Located in the Sussex countryside, a dedicated team of volunteers venture where few dare to enter. On call 24 hours a day.
Wildlife Rescue.
Attending over 4,000 rescues a year to help sick, injured and orphaned animals. The RAS team are on hand putting our wildlife first. This is Wildlife Rescue. Coming up, a dangerous storm is battering the south coast as the team attend to an unexpected visitor in a garden shed.
I'm actually convinced that fox would have struggled to have got out of that shed of its own accord.
Britain's most loved nocturnal visitor has been behaving in a peculiar way.
Hedgehogs just aren't hibernating.
The team are in pursuit of an injured fox.
They don't look fresh injuries, so it looks like this is something the fox has had for quite some time.
And for this dedicated team, they can be called to action on any day of the year.
Who am I going to find to help us with a deer on Christmas Day?
Time is of the essence.
So from the point of capture to the point of release, it has to be less than 30 minutes. So otherwise you're looking at an animal that's likely to have a heart attack and die on you. I'm Trevor Weeks. I'm the Operations Director and founder of East Sussex Wildlife Rescue and Ambulance Service. East Sussex Wildlife Rescue was formed as a voluntary group in 1996. The aim of RAS is to provide a frontline emergency response for people that find sick, injured, orphaned, trapped animals. We deal with all sorts of casualties. To us, it doesn't matter whether it's a peregrine falcon or a pigeon. If they're injured, they're suffering just the same. It's really grown from literally being me with my own vehicle to the organisation that it is today. So over the years, we've really, expanded. We've now got our own hospital. We've got a fleet of ambulances, and it's the complete opposite to what it used to be, which was just me in a vehicle. Wildlife Rescue. But yeah, no, we'll be down. It should be with you within the hour. Okay, not a problem. Take care. Bye-bye.
The first call of the day has come in from a member of the public, having sighted a fox in distress.
It's been reported as a possible road casualty, although they've not actually seen it be hit by a car. But it's they say it's laying flat out in the garden, and they think it's very poorly. It was seen trying to hobble through the garden, not using one of its legs, and now it's sort of collapsed in the garden. So we're going to think worst case scenario. So therefore, we've actually got 2 vehicles attending to make sure we've got multiple rescuers on site, so that we can hopefully deal with the rescue nice and swiftly.
On arrival, there is an urgency to locate the fox, as there are dangerous roads surrounding the property.
Okay, fox is over the far side over there.
The fox appears to be injured, so it's essential they catch him quickly. The team spring into action and split up to cover more ground.
Oh, it's going out the other to your side, Andy.
Despite the obstacles, Trevor and Andy eventually manage to corner the fox.
Yeah, he's just up there on the left.
I got it. Get behind that bush.
Yep. Right, don't go any further forward, just a second. I was hoping that she can join us.
Extra assistance is required to secure the fox swiftly.
Can you come and join us? We're going to need a third pair of hands here, I think. If you can stay this side, I'm going to go in this side.
The team must tread carefully, following Trevor's lead.
Okay, can you try and get and come back towards me if you can? Come on. Yep. Need the blanket.
A blanket is used to cover the fox to reduce its stress and the risk of a heart attack.
Right, there we go. Right, he certainly gave us a bit of a run around. Looks like he might have some form of facial or head injury as well. But the guys are just going to bring the ambulance a little bit closer and a cage a bit closer, just so we don't risk losing him in trying to transfer him into a cage or anything. So he's secure in the net now, so hopefully he'll be all right.
Trevor must now transfer the fox from the net into the cage, a tricky manoeuvre as one false move can result in injury to either the fox or Trevor.
Get your bum through. Yeah, you do need to come out, Mr. Fox, sorry. Hang on, caught up here. Oh, you poor mite.
Once secured, the team can make a quick assessment of the fox's injuries.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, thank God for that. It's not the eye.
No, he looks his eyes.
But need to find out what's going on with that jaw as well. Oh dear. Poor mite. Certainly that fox gave us a bit of a run around. It's clearly got some injuries. It's obviously not using one of its front legs properly. There's also a wound just behind the eye, but that looks actually like it's healing and scabbed over. So, and there's also looks like there's possibly damage to the jaw as well. But again, they don't look fresh injuries, so it looks like this is something the fox has had for quite some time. So we'll get back to the he or she back to the casualty centre, check those wounds over properly, and then we'll see where we go from there.
The RAS team will now do everything they can to save the fox's life.
I'm Karen Francis. My job title is Casualty Manager, and I've been here nearly 4 years.
Karen will take the lead on assessing the fox.
I know. The actual eye itself is fine. That is an old injury. It's going to need a bit of cleaning up. Oh, hold on, right, this. He had an old injury over his eye. This we'll need looking at just to make sure there's nothing underneath, like an abscess or any other swelling or any damage to the eye socket. He also doesn't seem to have much movement in his front legs. Foot's very cold. Come on, a bit of reaction.
Trevor is concerned the pre-existing injuries sustained could have been from a road collision.
And that orbital ridge might be damaged. The ridge that comes across the top of the eye. I've got a feeling that might be damaged.
We will send him up to the vet, and our vet will give him a full assessment, check those legs, make sure that there isn't any breaks in them, and also check the eye to make sure that there isn't any permanent damage around the eye and the eye socket. Okay, should we put you back in?
We've basically spoken to the vet now. The vet's happy to have a look at the fox, authorised us to give some emergency medication to make the fox more comfortable, and we're going to get the vet to just sort of double check, you know, what's going on and the condition of the fox. You know, to a layperson, it seems quite good, I have to say, but obviously we'll get the vet just to double check what's going on and to sort of come up with a treatment plan, so that we can hopefully get him back to full health eventually.
The fox will spend the night at the centre before being taken for a further assessment at a local vet's. Winter in Britain is unforgiving. Over the last 2 years, rescues during the bleak and cold months of winter have increased threefold. The variation in warm, mild temperatures to heavy flooding and snow is disrupting British wildlife across the board. One species has struggled in particular.
This winter has been a very strange winter for hedgehogs. It's the first winter I've ever encountered a year where hedgehogs just aren't hibernating.
Around autumn time is when they will start getting ready for hibernation. However, they have to be a really good weight to hibernate.
November, we had 130 hedgehogs admitted into care.
If we find them very, very small, or even out during daylight where they have parasites, we will bring them into care. We will keep them in until after Christmas, and when the weather gets better in the spring, when they would naturally wake up, we would take them back out and they would go on their way.
Adding to the increasing number of hedgehogs, the next casualty has been walking around in circles during the day with injuries consistent with a cat attack. It's important that a thorough assessment is made to see the extent of any injuries.
Right, that eye's there, that's fine. This eye, I'm not convinced it's there. Oh no. It looks like the eye's come out and it's all scabbed and it's just hanging out. If that is the eye, you can't tell, but it's definitely not in. It's not in place. We would definitely need to go to the vet, I think, on that. Poor thing. So just going to give him some pain relief till he goes up to the vet.
This is administered under veterinary guidance and help relieve its discomfort.
There we go. Good boy. And it is a boy. So the nicest or the kindest thing would be to send him up to the vet and get them to have a look. Because if he hasn't got any vision, then he won't survive in the wild, which is a shame because he's a lovely weight and he's quite a healthy hog other than that. But yeah, it may be the vet looks him and thinks that he'll be all right with one eye, but it's not normal that happens. Right, but he's got pain relief in him, so he's not suffering now. There you go. There, and we will get someone to take him up as soon as possible.
We'll see later how the hedgehog gets on and its chance of survival. RAS relies on over 100 volunteers to enable the centre to operate.
Hello, I'm Katie Edmondson and I'm a general feed and cleaner here at RAS. It's just an honour to be so close to wildlife that most people would never see.
I had an interest in animals and I get on with them a lot better than I get on with people. So I thought, as RAS was local, that I'd give them a try.
Found out RAS existed, came here for one day and really just haven't left. It kind of went from one extreme to another.
So I started as a volunteer and just fell in love with the animals and wanted to stay and do whatever I could to help them.
The rewards are just amazing when you've helped a wild animal.
Unfortunately, not all rescues have a successful ending.
The poor fox sadly didn't make it in the end, which I'm a bit disappointed about, to be honest.
Need a blanket?
It could well be that his body had gone too far. Internal injury, we can't say for sure, unfortunately.
Sadly, you do lose some sometimes, which again is not easy. And you always think, well, did I do something wrong? Should I have done something differently? But, you know, you can't save them all, sadly, which is the sad case on this occasion.
February has brought some of the worst storms in recent memory and is battering the south coast. For Trevor and his team, there is no let-up, as wildlife is just as vulnerable to the harsh conditions, and they must remain on high alert. Averaging at 22 calls a month, foxes are the centre's second most rescued mammal after hedgehogs. With the growing towns and cities, the lives of urban foxes and people are coming together more frequently.
Hello, Wildlife Rescue. Okie dokie. Not for the moment, actually. Yeah, just leave that unlocked, but leave the latch there for the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark.
Yep.
If you can try and get yourself in there.
Yep, sure.
And then basically with one of the blankets, just hold it sort of up against where the window is.
Yep.
All right. That's just in case he does try to push through that.
Sure.
The foxes gained access through a broken window to seek shelter from the storm. It's important that the fox is kept secure to prevent any injury.
Externally, the fox looks okay, but obviously there's a lot of the fox that I can't see in the back of the shed. So we're basically going to catch it, check it over, and then just make sure that it is fit and healthy. I'm going to try and go in head first, so I can actually physically grab him. Right, that's the end of the dog grasper. So basically, if you can just keep an eye on that and just keep control of it, and obviously whilst I come out, if you can just help guide that backwards. The only way I was going to get it out was to physically get in there and then scruff it and lift it up and out into the waiting cage. That was the only way we were going to achieve that.
This process presents great danger to the fox, and if incorrectly done, can lead to strangulation.
Okay, hold on a second, there we go. There you go, come on, legs as well. That's it, in you go, in you go. Lid right down. Back. There we go. Okay, mister, let's get you covered over first of all. And then we'll get you checked over at the van better. There we go, slide him straight on the left-hand side. Okay, mister. I think you look fine. Two roads either sides where the traffic can be quite busy would have been too high a risk to release it there and then. And there, you know, obviously it could have got run over if it sort of panics and shoots between a couple of parked cars or something. There we go. Fantastic. So therefore we thought, well, the best thing we can do is bring it in for the daytime and then get it back out once it's quieter at night time, and then it runs a much lower risk. The fox appears to be in really good condition. One of the nicest foxes I've seen in a long time, to be honest. We just need to make sure that we give him a nice hearty meal, and we'll get him back tonight once the local roads are a bit quieter.
The team will monitor the fox as it spends the rest of the day in a recovery pen, where it will be fed and regularly checked by the volunteers. If all is well, the fox will be released back in the wild come the evening. Having 35 years of service committed to rescuing wildlife, Trevor has seen it all. Of the 4,000 calls the team receive a year, one of the most challenging and dangerous rescues occurred on Christmas Day.
We got a call to a fallow deer stag, which had got its antlers wrapped up in electric rope. Yeah, I can go up here. In order to get to where the deer was, we had this like wooded ravine that we had to go down, cross over a very muddy stream, and then climb up the bank the other side. Which was not an easy thing to do when you're trying to lug a rucksack full of equipment. Once we were in the field, we could see that the deer was clearly very active, running backwards and forwards, flipping over, landing on its side, and with where the earth had been so badly dug on the floor, you could see it had been obviously like this for quite some time. So from the point of capture to the point of release, it has to be less than 30 minutes. So otherwise you're looking at an animal that's likely to have a heart attack and die on you. You and Kathy want to try and reduce his movement with the walk towards the net, and then I'll try and grab his legs like last time. Kathy and Chris decided that they would take the net forward. We used the walk towards net, which is like a tennis court net basically. You use that to entangle the deer to gain more control. Kathy, you stay out a bit because he's got to swing round and go into the net, hopefully. On this occasion, the pole that the rope was attached to was also becoming very loose, and there was actually a fear that if we weren't quick in getting our act together, that the deer could potentially pull that post out the ground. Nice one. Come on, mister. Come on. Now go round him, go round him. Okay, now pull him as hard as you can that direction. That then allowed me to do a fairly dangerous procedure of a leg grab, which you have to take your time doing it, otherwise, because you don't want to risk getting kicked. And, you get a kick in your chest and that could be fatal for you. So you have to be really, really careful doing it. Come on, come on, come on. So Chris jumped onto the shoulders, and that's a really important aspect of what you do when you deal with these deer. Chris is basically impersonating what a large cat would do out in Africa if it was trying to bring down a deer. And of course, as a result of him being on the shoulders like that, the deer will play dead. That then works to our advantage because it means we can then much more safely look at cutting the rope free and getting our net removed much more quickly. No long strands of rope there that can cause him any issues. Right, you're going to jump right this time, Chris. I don't think that deer could have put up with being entangled for too much longer before it would potentially have had a heart attack. As the deer sort of got to its feet, you could see it was starting to struggle. Just about managed to get over the fence, but it did give its stomach quite a whack. Poor thing, clearly very tired, isn't he? We monitored it from a distance for a good 20 minutes or so, allowing the deer to recover at a distance. And then after it had spent a little bit of time recovering, it then just shot off across the field and away, which was really nice to see it go. So that was a close call, but we were pleased that it managed to get away.
The hedgehog involved in a cat attack earlier has returned back to the centre for rehabilitation, having undergone successful surgery.
Leave that there so you can see better. So he's still very, very woozy from the anaesthetic. He's had one eye removed, which you probably won't be able to see at the moment. And he's also had a little suture to his other eye, which we knew there was something going on, but we weren't 100% sure, but the vets said that there is a wound under there, so he's had a suture to that. And then we put him in here, nice and warm, and he'll be kept, that will go up, and he will be kept a nice even temperature, keep his body temperature nice. I'm going to put some food and that in for him, and he's all done. The vet has put him on a course of treatment, which will be antibiotics and pain relief. And fingers crossed, with a bit of TLC, he'll be okay and he could go back out.
As the day draws to a close, the centre shuts its doors. However, RAS staff will remain on call throughout the night, maintaining a 24-hour service. For Trevor, the hope is that every rescued animal can be released back into the wild once healthy enough to do so. After spending 12 hours in care, Trevor has returned to Polegate with the fox from the shed.
Right, this is ideal. So the shed that he's come out of is only just over there. It's a little bit crowded and restricted over there for him to be able to see where he is and what's going on. So I think we'll look at doing it here. He's got a little bit of street light. He can see in all four directions nice and easily. So that would be an ideal place to get him released, I think. So, yes. Right, let's get him out, see what we can do.
When the fox was rescued, Storm Kira had battered the country with the fox seeking refuge in the shed. After recuperating at the centre and showing no sign of injury, The fox can be released now. It's quieter on the roads and safer to do so.
Right, I'm just going to give him just a few minutes to get his bearings, which shouldn't take too long seeing as we rescued him only today. He's already looking round, he's already sniffing, which is a good sign, so hopefully he'll go quite well. Turn around, mister. Come on. Turn around. There you go. That's brilliant. That's what you do rescue work for at the end of the day. You know, it's like we've come here this afternoon, we've rescued the poor fox, we've got him out. He's back out where he belongs within 12 hours, which is really great. So, and he's back at a nice safe time of day. So that's what you do rescue work for.